Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. This is Glossy Philosophy. My name is Jansen Binman. Make sure that you're subscribed to this channel. Give this video a thumbs up because today we are taking inspiration from a movie and singing star, Barbara Streisand. Last year, Vanity Fair did a huge story on her in their November 2023 catalog. And this photo in particular caught my eye, especially with fall coming up. It's a really beautiful, subtle cut crease that we can wear every day and still feel a little bit more glamorous, a little bit more put together, so stay tuned. I've already prepped my face by washing it, doing my skincare, and doing a base, which includes foundation, any color correcting that I need, concealer. I did my eye primer, which is the NARS clear sheer one, and I've done my brows, and then I've also tightlined my eyes. I've added a little bit of bronzer from Gucci Westman, and now I'm ready to go. So the first thing we want to do is do that cat wing, that flick. I'm going to be using the Stila Stay All Day. You can absolutely use gel. It looks like in the photo that I'm referencing, she's either using a gel or a very smooth pencil that she kind of tweaked with a brush to make that line just gorgeous and super smooth. For longevity, I do want to use the liquid liner, and then I'm going to go over it with a little bit of ground coffee because it does look like it's on the browner side, especially since there's lots of brown tones in that photograph. But I'm wearing black today, so we're going to kind of morph it to ourselves. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to follow my lower lash line. I'm gonna draw it out just a little bit, and Barbara Streisand likes to have her kitten wing or her flick a little bit on the flatter side. She's not actually tilting it up, so if you're following that lower lash line, you can kind of play with that angle a little bit. What you really want to do is make sure that you're getting all the way to the end of your upper lid and then drawing it out. If you draw it too far in, it's going to get lost when you open and close your eyes, and then you're going to get really frustrated and end up with really big wings, bigger than you thought. So I always like to just start with the tip and kind of draw into my lash line a little bit and see if I can find that perfect spot of where my upper lid actually stops. So for me, it's right about here. And it looks like I've extended my upper lid, but I haven't really. This is actually where my upper lid basically stops. If I'm referencing the picture in Barbara Streisand's normal cut crease, she does like to go a little bit flatter with her wing. She doesn't like that uptick quite so much. This will really elongate the eye this way and will do a great job of not only making your eyes bigger, but also more feline. Now, if you go this way, it'll give the face a little bit of a lift. So absolutely play around with the direction of your flick and find what's best for you. But we are taking inspiration from Barbara Streisand, so we're gonna go a little bit flatter. And then you always want to draw that back in, and you kind of create this long triangle right on the edge of your eye. Her line isn't too long, so we're going to stop there, and I'm just going to finish putting that line in along my upper lash line so that my lashes look really nice and thick. And I'm just doing little dashes, filling in any gaps. I'm touching the skin and dragging. But I also know that I'm going to go in with my pencil. So I don't need it to come all the way in. I'm going to do that with my pencil. So if I'm looking straight ahead, I go to right about where the iris stops towards that inner corner. So we'll do the same thing on the other side. Okay, so we have our initial wings. Now I'm going to go in with ground coffee and just make it a little bit more brown. So basically drawing right on top of that line, making it a little bit softer with those brown tones. If I need to, I can grab some kind of an angled brush, pull on that line very gently, and smooth it out. And now on this eye, we have a really nice, soft, kind of brown, blacky wing. And this one's a little bit more graphic. So we're going to do the same thing on the other side. Now both eyes are equal. Now we can start going in with something like a pencil brush into our cut crease shades. I'm going to combine those two colors onto my pencil brush from MAC. and just start to map that out. I can always blend it out with my 217 if I need to, but I'm gonna stare straight ahead into my mirror, and with my eyes open, I'm just plotting out basically my own bone structure and my own eyelid when it's open. And you can already see just by adding that little bit opens up the eye. The lid is going to pop forward, the lashes are going to recede, and the crease will also recede very, very subtly. And if I need to, again, I can switch to a smaller brush as we get toward that wing. I'm going to knock off ground coffee on my angle brush, and I'm going to leave a little bit of a gap, but right above that wing, I'm going to put that shadow. And then I'm going to take my 217 and just very, very lightly soften it. We want it to still be a line, but we want it to be a softer line. This isn't stage makeup, but it still is kind of that graphic look. I'm going to go back in with my pencil brush and draw that line in just a little bit more so that it almost fades as we get to that inner corner. Switching back to my 217 and just finding that balance between having that graphic line and making it slightly softer. I also see in the picture that she's brought that same shadow underneath to almost round out her eye. So it's a really, really interesting look. Whenever I'm doing my eye makeup on my lower lid, I like to squint just a little bit so I can find that lower lid without going over. I don't want to bring it down too far, but I do want to make sure that I'm covering that entire lower lid for my bone structure, my eye shape. Now we are ready for mascara. So while it is a little bit of a technical look and it does take a little bit of extra time, it's pretty quick once you get going, and it really opens up the eye. So now I'm just getting right into the lashes, making sure that I'm kind of wiggling and pulling at the same time. Taking whatever is left on my brush, just really hitting those lower lashes with minimal mascara. Now what I want to do is I just want to assess my base before I go on to the finishing touches. So I'm feeling like my concealer has kind of started to melt away. So I'm going to take just a little bit of extra on my ring finger and gently start to tap that in. And this will also give the face a little bit of extra depth, being careful not to undo what we just did with our technical eye. And I can always go in with kind of a fluffy brush. This is the 108 from BK Beauty. Just kind of tap that in, making sure there are no harsh edges. I can bring anything that I have extra down the bridge of my nose as well. I'm feeling good about the complexion. I'm feeling like you can still see that bronzer going. So now what I want to do is I want to grab my lipstick. So in the photograph, she has slightly glossy lips. I'm going to add a little bit of that concealer from Lisa Eldridge. This lipstick, however, is Pillow Talk Fair from Charlotte Tilbury. It's just slightly paler than my natural lip color. I'm going to put that on the back of my hand. I'm going to add a little bit of Lisa's liquid highlighter. We're going to put that on the cheek. And see how these warm kind of pinky tones are all speaking to each other. So it's a gorgeous look going into fall, a gorgeous everyday look that really wakes up your eyes, makes your eyes bigger, and yet isn't too much. Anything that I have extra on my hand, I'm just going to tap my lips for a little bit of gloss. You can also go full on gloss if you want. Last but not least, I'm going to use Westman Atelier's translucent powder with the 110 from BK Beauty. So it's very similar to the 108, but it's more dense. This is actually a really, really great concealer brush if you feel like you really need to get in there because you were not sleeping or whatever. But I also like it for just this very sheer wash of powder through the center of the face. And that is the finished look. Thank you guys so much for watching this subtle cut crease makeup tutorial. I love taking inspiration from the past, from past photos, from art, from really anywhere, but I think Barbara Streisand has such a beautiful look in her movies, and I really loved how subtle that cut crease was. It opens the eye and yet is very wearable. I do fashion and beauty videos every Wednesday, as well as book talks at the beginning of the month. Make sure you are following along on Instagram and watching the shorts in between for before and afters and lots of outfit inspiration, and I will see you very soon in the next one. Bye.